What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another exciting episode of Forever News! In today's episode, boy, do we got some stories to talk about. For starters, we got a little bit of drama, I guess you could say, where the right thing is starting to be done. There's a little situation going on where an animation studio was essentially not trying to pay an animator, and some higher authorities are stepping in. We're gonna talk about that because this has been an ongoing fight for a long time with animation studios and animators. We're gonna talk. Next up, we got a couple of updates with certain series such as Jujutsu Kaisen's manga alongside Blue Exorcist's manga as well. We got some really awesome news for people that have been craving some more Demon Slayer. We got a little bit of news regarding some new Demon Slayer stories that are incoming, and I'm kind of excited about that. I mean, it's been a while already, right? Got a small little update for Phantom Seer, a small update for Oda, Eiichiro Oda from One Piece, and a recommendation that he has. Pretty awesome Black Clover news. I mean, with all the stuff going on with Black Clover right now, this is a really big thing. We got some drama on the Translator side, which I never thought we'd be talking about, but yeah, My Hero Academia official Translator went through a little bit of an issue recently with people calling them out for some translations, so we will be discussing that. We've got a Mashle 1-year anniversary project incoming. We got some accolades for Seraph of the End, and an interesting story regarding a studio that is trying to do some really ambitious things with the Isekai genre. So yeah, we got some stories to talk about. Without further ado, people, let's jump into another exciting episode of Forever News! The only news source that provides anything and everything anime and manga related, and we don't bore you. We get into it. Let's do it.
No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done.
Okay, people, so let's start off with a story regarding animators trying to get their just dues. Now, we've talked about this for probably a decade almost at this particular point, where animation studios try to stiff arm, try to basically get everything they can out of animators and leave them with nothing. You know, just basically use them and abuse them, so to speak. The fight for equality regarding work pay and all sorts of stuff with animators has been a long one coming, and I am kind of glad to report on this just because somebody was done wrong, and now other forces are stepping in because little things are slowly but surely being put in place so that companies can't basically stiff out animators any longer. Let's read this. Government Signal MD did not properly compensate an animator. The JCast News website reported last Friday that animation studio Signal MD received a notice from the Japan Fair Trade Commission on January 19th informing the company of its failure to properly compensate subcontracted animator Shido Kudaka for prior work the animator did for the studio. According to Kudaka's statement to JCast News, he had been working with Signal MD on a television anime beginning in November 2019, with the anime itself slated to premiere in spring of 2021. He stated that he had received a verbal agreement to receive $3,400 for his work on the anime, with $1,700 being paid up front. After finishing his work, he claimed that he was not paid the remaining amount, and that an invoice he sent in December 2019 was later rejected. When he contacted a Signal MD producer the following January, the producer allegedly refused to pay again. JCast News confirmed with Signal MD's parent company IG Port that Signal MD had received the notice and noted that the company will take steps to deal appropriately with the involved parties and that will ensure full compliance with the law throughout its entire company. Signal MD is a sister company of Production IG and Wit Studio, two major studios. Wit Studio was the ones that was doing Attack on Titan. They've also done Vinland Saga. Production IG is a huge one as well. Yeah, right here it says they produce Napping Girls, The Wonderland, Fate Grand Order. The studio is currently airing winter season TV anime Mars Red, and its upcoming spring TV anime scheduled to premiere in April is Dragon Goes House Hunting, which I'm imagining that's the series that the animator worked on. My message is pay your goddamn animators. Pay your fucking animators. Stop trying to get these people to work for fucking 10 cents and giving them nothing. Like, these people destroy their bodies to make our entertainment. Pay them. Next up, a small update for Jujutsu Kaisen's manga. Apparently, Jujutsu Kaisen will have a sudden break next week in Weekly Shonen Jump issue number 10. Series should resume back in issue number 11, out February 14th, 15th. So essentially, we were supposed to get a chapter this coming week, and then suddenly it's not happening. And it's starting to get me a little bit worried because we constantly talk about Jujutsu Kaisen Kaisen, the author Gege Akutami being heavily influenced by Yoshihiro Togashi, the creator of Hunter x Hunter and Yu Yu Hakusho. And little by little, I've started to notice, and don't get me wrong, I'm totally fine with breaks. By all means, Gege, take the breaks you need. Making a weekly manga is the most strenuous, or one of the most strenuous jobs I've ever heard of. So absolutely take breaks. But I've started to notice a trend, more and more breaks happening for Jujutsu Kaisen, which again, I'm fine with, but just as long as we don't go down the route of Yoshihiro Togashi. We already got the influence on a positive side of like, yo, one of the best stories of all time, and now, you know, Jujutsu Kaisen is making great strides in that direction. Let's just leave the hiatuses, you know, full-length hiatuses out of the picture, because again, this one being sudden, hopefully it's nothing to do with the health either, because that's nothing to joke about. But yeah, Jujutsu Kaisen will not be in the next issue of Shonen Jump, and again, that's unfortunate, because I think even in the latest chapter it said we were getting a chapter, but maybe they didn't meet the deadline is what I'm imagining. And while we're on the topic of manga taking breaks, Blue Exorcist will be absent from Jump Square's March and April issues. The series will resume back in May's issues. I felt as though that was a little bit noteworthy to report on. That's basically 2 months of no Blue Exorcist. I know we don't really talk about it here on the channel, but for the longest time I was a big fan of it, and I want to say over like the Christmas break I rewatched like the first season or so of the anime, and I always really liked Blue Exorcist. So yeah, I'm surprised it's still going, to be honest with you. You don't really hear much nowadays after like the 2017 anime. Yeah, it's been kind of quiet for Blue Exorcist, but yeah, it'll be absent for the next couple months. Next up, Demon Slayer fans, we've got some good news. Again, we've been starving for new Demon Slayer manga since what? I think we had like the one shot that they did, and we never really got proper translations for the Rengoku manga stuff. I think we got like one of the chapters, but not the little prequel, like it was supposed to be like 3 or 4 chapters. We never got that. However, it says here, Demon Slayer fan book to include 3 new one-shot manga. Shueisha revealed some of the content included in the upcoming second fan book of Koyoharu Gotoge's Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba manga on Monday, which will include 3 new one-shot manga exclusive to the art book, as well as 3 other one-shot manga that previously appeared in other publications. The first manga one-shot is titled Tanjiro no Kinkyo Hokokusho, Report on Tanjiro's Present Condition, which will show Tanjiro and other characters after the manga's conclusion. The second one-shot is titled Totsugeki Jigoku no Onitori Zai Sanzu no Kawa o Koete, Breaking Hell Demon Report, Crossing the Far Shore, which will show some of the demons from that time. The third one-shot is titled Kimetsu no Dodai, The Foundation of Kimetsu, which will show some of Gotoge's real stories from drawing the manga during its serialization. That sounds very, very interesting. The fan book will also include the Rengoku Volume 0 one-shot that was previously given out as a bonus for theater goers for Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba the movie Mugen Train, and the Nenshi Bangai Han and Nematsu Bangai Hen one-shots that were published respectively in the combined 6th and 7th 2020 issue and the combined 4th and 5th 2019 issue of Weekly Shonen Jump. The fan book will ship on February 4th. And I'm not gonna lie, I really hope we get those over here translated. I want to read them, especially like what happens after the story ends. That's a big deal. Like after Demon Slayer manga ends, we got a little more story there. Also very, very excited about Gotoge's real life stories while creating the manga. Sounds like she has some stories to tell. More Demon Slayer incoming. Next up, small little accolade for Seraph of the End. Apparently Seraph of the End has reached 11 million copies in circulation. Another one that I'm kind of shocked is still going. I mean, I haven't heard of it ending, but it's just kind of been quiet for Seraph of the End for like, want to say 4 or 5 years now, maybe more, since the last season of the anime. Haven't heard much. I really liked Seraph of the End from what I remember watching the anime. Like I was really, really digging it. I saw most of season 2. I never finished season 2, but I think it like caught up with the manga. This is a story I wouldn't mind getting back into at some point. Maybe if they announce like a season 3, I'll get back into it, but either way, 11 million copies, really dope stuff. Also Mashle, we talked about that one somewhere in the middle of last year, I want to say, one of the latest breaking hits from Shonen Jump. Apparently Mashle is preparing its first anniversary project in Weekly Shonen Jump soon. No further information has been given, so yeah, it's about to reach that 1-year anniversary, and I want to say it was about 9, so maybe 2 months after the manga debut that we did a video talking about it. Major props to Mashle. It seems as though if it survived the first year, assuming it goes a little bit longer, it's almost guaranteed at this point that it's going to get an anime adaptation at some point. And yeah, a lot of people are digging Mashle. I like what I read of it so far. I'm probably a couple months behind at this particular point, but I usually do that with Mashle. Like I let the chapters build up and then I have a blast. But yeah, 1-year anniversary project. Interested to see what it's going to be. Maybe a voice comic, because because that's been the big thing that they've been doing. And speaking of voice comics, Phantom Seer, another newbie in Shonen Jump, Chapter 2, will be getting a voice comic to commemorate Volume 2's release. That is really dope. That's one manga that is on my radar to get into, Phantom Seer. I've heard nothing but great things about it. It's a fresh series in Jump, and yeah, maybe it's about time to read up on it and see what it's all about. Fans of Eiichiro Oda, the creator of One Piece, it seems as though they've been having a lot of the Jump authors giving recommendations for other manga. Well, apparently Eiichiro Oda, mangaka of One Piece, has recommended 2.5D Seduction by Yu Hashimoto, published in Shonen Jump Plus's app. This one doesn't look, to my knowledge, as bad as the recommendation from the My Hero Academia manga author. But yeah, I don't know. I thought they would recommend, like, I remember when Kishimoto back in the day recommended a manga, it looked really freaking cool, and it turned out to be Twin Star Exorcist, and that shit, the manga at the very least, was really dope. I don't know why they recommended these. Like, maybe they don't want to give no bonuses to the competition of, like, shonen battle stuff, or it could just be that these are their friends. Black Clover fans, as of the recording of this video, the latest episode has not dropped yet, so I don't know if things are trending and popping off, but apparently Black Clover, it was taken off of the Toonami block for a while now. I want to say it was replaced with other things, but it was never completely confirmed, like, yo, it's not coming back. However, breaking news, Black Clover returns to Toonami on February 13th at the 2 a.m. time slot. Black Clover making it back to Toonami. When things like that happen, it's because there's a big interest that's been generated for the franchise, enough for them to say, oh, people are gonna watch this, let's put it on the block. For Black Clover to be going back to Toonami, they don't really do that normally, and this is no shade to any series, please don't mistake it, but like One Piece, after they tried a few different times, they haven't put it back on the block since, and it's been years. And again, One Piece, one of the greatest stories of all time, so no disrespect intended at all, but it just shows that in the West, a lot of interest has been, as of recent, generated for Black Clover. Really love to see it. Okay, so just quickly wanted to talk about this. Since the recent events in Attack on Titan, the trending tab has been ridiculous with Attack on Titan related names. Sasha being trending in Bangladesh with over 500,000 tweets just all over the place. And yeah, it's kind of divided the fandom a lot with this episode. On one hand, there's people that absolutely despise Gabby and what she's done. And I've just seen like back and forth, people defending Gabby and people going against Gabby. And it's just really interesting to see the fandom split. And Gabby's only been in like, what, 8 episodes at this particular point, so to see people defending her and saying, yeah, she's a child and shit like that, it's just been a very strange thing. I've been more so on the side of the people from Paradise, but yeah, it's been bananas, and a lot of people are going crazy, and all the trending tabs has just been Sasha, Gabby, Attack on Titan final season, Eren ain't do nothing wrong, just saying. Okay people, so next up, there was some drama with one of the translators, official translators for My Hero Academia's manga in the West that translates it into English. Apparently some people have been accusing them of playing favoritism. Certain characters speak a certain way that they're not supposed to, and they're accusing the person, in particular the translator, of doing this with an agenda, basically translating with an agenda in mind. One example they had was in the weekly Viz version that comes out every week on the app. It said for Todoroki, I'm here to use you for my own reasons, and I believe he's talking to Endeavor. However, in the volume release, Todoroki was talking a little more spicier. You're rotten number 1. You were just in the right place at the right time. That's all. So people are saying that they were kind of softening the blow a little bit and that they're doing this with an agenda. The translator came back and replied to these accusations. PSA, in general, if there's a change made in either the weekly or volume release of manga I work on, I can't talk about that publicly. When mistakes slip through, rest assured that I'm upset too and frantically but silently scrambling behind the scenes to fix it. Some fans accuse me of having a biased agenda that shows up in the work because of personal dislike for a character. That's absurd. A lowly freelance translator does not have the power to push an agenda in books that sell millions, nor would he try if he wants to keep working. When I work, my energy is devoted to analyzing the text and recreating it in English on a tight turnaround. I don't make my faves sound better than they are, or my least fave sounds worse. Scheming up ways to insert opinions is something I don't have the time or energy for. Also, every chapter and volume is checked over by multiple in-house editors, Japanese speakers, native or otherwise. Any sneaky agenda would get caught immediately. They simply wouldn't let it through, and if it were a recurring problem, I would get in trouble. Why risk that? At the same time, those editors tend to edit the raw script I give them. Imagine that. They reword, rephrase, adjust, nuance. That's their job. I don't see the final release until you do, and sometimes I'm pleased, shocked by the edits, but then again, I can't talk about that publicly. Sometimes even Japan gets involved. When subtle points need clarification straight from the source, someone might have to ask Shueisha's editorial or even Horikoshi. Sometimes an answer comes back in time for the weekly release, sometimes not. Sometimes even a volume release can have a mistake, typos or otherwise. I hate that because it means a book with my name on it is out in the world with something wrong. When I notice, I can send an email requesting a fix for eventual reprints, but that's all I can do. So it's largely out of my hands once I submit the raw script, meaning 1, there are multiple competent firewall safety nets, aka other professionals between me and the final release. 2, what I write is sometimes not what you read. 3, I can't publicly comment on some choices, so please understand how frustrating it is when bad faith randos on Twitter accuse me of bias, agenda, whatever, and I literally cannot explain a thing, especially when it crosses the line to slander and abuse as it often does. There is no grand conspiracy, and I'm not the enemy. That was very lengthy. Honestly, I'm going to pass the question off to you regarding that one. How do you feel about that? If all of that is legit, which that's usually the case, just being honest, and works like that, there's usually like a buffer between that person and the actual release, people overlooking it. Because imagine if he just wanted to put like some wild shit in there, like some derogatory terms or something like that, it would be insane. So yeah, at the very least, you gotta imagine one person, but more than likely multiple people, especially on a globally released project like, manga and stuff like that. Yeah, you could argue that people, of course, everybody usually has their type of opinion or agenda, but again, when there's professionals buffering in between, you'd have to blame all of them at that particular point if you want to say anything. And believe me, I'm not defending this person. I have no idea who this person is, but that's usually the case. In any form that is like a multi-million, billion-dollar company, they don't just allow like, yo, you, Greg, you know how to write in Japanese? Cool beans. You know how to translate that shit? Awesome. Go write this shit. Like, it doesn't work that way. And on another story, apparently they're trying to make this particular studio an ongoing isekai anime similar to Sword Art Online, and I want to say they're using one studio to do it, which is absolutely insane and ambitious, because like even Boruto, Black Clover, that they're ongoing and weekly and they put out 50 episodes a year, they have multiple studios that work on different things. But according to this, it says, in the latest interview, Egg Firm chairman and producer Nobuhiro Osawa revealed that Mushoku Tensei, Jobless Reincarnation, is planned to be a long-running anime adaptation of light novel works similar to Sword Art Online and Don Machi. And a lot of people are freaking out about this and saying, yo, this is going to be awesome. I'm not the biggest isekai fan, but it could be good. I mean, I love ReZero. Sword Art Online is kind of cool. Gotta wait and see, but people were alerting me saying this is a big deal, so I wanted to report it for you guys. Very curious what you guys think about all the stories that we covered in today's episode. Your thoughts on that anime studio that is trying to get out of paying the animator for their work. Jujutsu Kaisen taking a sudden break. The new Demon Slayer manga chapters. Oh, I am so excited and all here for it. Blue Exorcist going on break. Phantom Seer getting a voice comic. The creator of One Piece, Eiichiro Oda's recommendation of a manga. I might not even be checking that one out either. Him and Horikoshi, I don't know what they're recommending. Black Clover returning to Toonami due to its success. My Hero Academia Translator's drama. The Mashle one-year project, what do you think that'll be? Seraph of the End reaching 11 million copies. And that long-running isekai. I don't know how the SAO long-running stuff has been, because they've been, what, like 50 or I don't even know how many episodes at this point the latest SAO ran for. But it could be a good thing. I don't know. I guess this is like reinventing the wheel at this point of them doing something like that. And your overall thoughts of any of the stories we covered in today's episode. But that is all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Hit that bell to get all notifications. And if you want to follow any of my other social media, links are in the description below. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. And remember the golden rule. Anime and manga for life. Boy. Have an awesome day. Peace in. And you guys just watched another episode of Forever News. Have an awesome day. So just go.